Hey everybody, I'm going to do a flea market finds video, but before I get to that, I need to admit something to all of you. I have to admit that I'm a man of many vices. I mean, I have this vice, 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 and this vice. And that isn't even all of them. Believe it or not, I still have. Well, those of you who've watched my channel for a long time may remember quite some time ago I scrapped a Brown & Sharp #2 plane horizontal milling machine. But before I scrapped it, I took the vise off of it, and that was a Brown & Sharp vise. Good size one. That's weighs a ton, so that's out there in the Alpine shed where it's been sitting for years now. It's probably rusting away like crazy. So I got that one. And then I know I got my favorite little Palmgren style vise that I use all the time for really small work. Can't put my hand on that right now. Somewhere around here. And then I've got that quick release Craftsman drill press style vise that I just picked up this past year at that big estate. I know that's around here somewhere. And then what else? And I got a series. I got at least 2 or 3 of those little vices that you use on a magnetic chuck for a surface grinder. So, oh yeah, and I've also got a bench vise. You know, that style of bench vise right there. Only it's a monster. It's a really big sucker. You guys have never seen that because I acquired that long before I got into YouTube. That is actually over in the garage, and eventually that's going to come down here and probably be mounted to this workbench because this workbench is really, really sturdy and strong. So, anyways, so what was the point of all this? Well, the point is my last video before the sledding video, I mentioned that I was starting to clean up around here and get rid of some of the stuff that I had. And you know, the problem is a lot of the stuff I'm getting rid of is just stuff that is just so darn heavy that for me to ship it even halfway across the country kind of cancels out any value you would be able to get by buying it from me. And just imagine what would be involved in shipping something like that and having it get to its destination in one piece. Realistically, that would have to be crated up or palletized. So now you're dealing with a freight situation. Anyways, so my whole point, getting off the subject, my whole point is that's why right now I'm trying to sell these either through local Facebook pages and things like that, or even if I do put them on eBay, it's local pickup only because I just don't want to deal with it. Now, taking that into account, I realize I'm going to have to drastically discount the price on these. So, well, for example, this one here is the one that I am currently advertising. And because it's in pretty rough shape here, it's got some pretty good sized boo-boos here. Okay. And then an end mill took a chunk out over here. It actually operates pretty well. And I don't have an extra handle for this one. So it would be with no handle. $60. Even in the condition it's in some parts of the country, people would be dying to get that vise right there for $60. But we're up here in New England. We're in this rust belt, as they call it. And we have more access to this kind of stuff. So, but even so, I actually got right off the bat, I got 3 inquiries on that one. That may be gone come tomorrow morning. The problem is that I mentioned that I had that one, and then I mentioned that I had another one, a little more money, better condition. So the person who's coming tomorrow morning, I'm going to let him basically decide if he wants to spend a little more money and get, basically, this is the identical vise. This is interesting to me. This vise is identical in size and shape to this one. This one is clearly a Bridgeport. I think this is also a genuine Bridgeport. I think it's just an earlier one, so it's unmarked. This one here, they engraved it with this department number on the top here. Other than that, it's pretty well unmolested. It's actually in pretty good shape under all that grease and dirt. And this is probably my nicest Bridgeport vise. This vise is basically identical to the other two that we were just looking at, but it's on the swivel, so that's nice. And this one is also in very good shape. I don't think this has any oops marks or anything like that on it. This is that power feed unit for a mill drill, and so this is actually selling on eBay right now. It's already got a bid on it, opening bid of $90, and there's like 5 people watching it, so it might even go higher than that, and that's plus shipping. So I think these new are around $200 in this brand. This I think they still sell this one through the Grizzly catalog for Grizzly mill drills or something like that. This particular one has the bracket on it that actually is marked right on it, Central Machinery, which is the brand name of the mill drills that I think were sold through the Harbor Freight catalog a while back. So this is something that I really didn't know what to ask for it. So to be on the safe side and make sure that I'm not giving it away, I decided, well, I'll just throw it on eBay and let the market set the price. Thinking, well, based on previous sales of these and what they cost new, I threw up a price of $90. Figure worst case scenario is if it didn't sell, I could just drop the price down and relist it. Well, apparently the number I came up with was right for enough people, because like I said, it's got a few days left, 2 or 3 days left on the auction. It's already got a bid, so that's going bye-bye. So that's nice. Oh, why am I not keeping it? This particular model right here, it's I believe it's a 135 inch-pounds of torque is what it's able to do, and my understanding is that that is what makes it unique to the smaller mill drills as opposed to the full-size milling machines. Also, it's got this strange shape to it. I don't know if you kind of see this is, see how this has got this flat on the top here? And apparently that's part of the design consideration of this for, again, use on a mill drill, as opposed to this type, which you can see it doesn't have that flat and mounts to a special bracket and everything. So this is more atypical of what you would see on a Bridgeport, although this is on my Wells Index. Now, those of you who watch a lot of my videos know that in the Wells Index series, I actually bought an entire mill, another Wells Index mill for a spindle, so I could repair my my machine. And this is the drive unit that I stole off of, well, not stole, I mean paid for it, that I took off of that machine before I decided to, well, it's not really scrapped, it's kind of sitting out in the field. It's still a parts machine, but I'm going to hold on to that for now, because I could either possibly use it on the knee for elevation of the knee. I don't know if I could even adapt that to work, or maybe just might be not a bad idea to hold on to that as a spare. This actually, I think, also needs repair. I think I remember that this had an issue and I was going to get to it eventually, but there's no hurry on that because mine's working perfectly fine. Geez, at the rate I'm talking here, I'm never going to get to this Flea Market Finds series, or this video is going to be long. Yeah, worse things could happen. I give you guys a long video since you haven't seen much out of me in a while. Alright, so let me talk about this. This is this bench micrometer that I got out of that estate. And I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but when I got this bench micrometer, it had the click stop on the back here, and the click stop was bent. So it was bent pretty badly. And I very carefully tried to bend it back, and no sooner did I try that than the screw just snapped right off. And then I was able to get what was left of the screw out of there. So I've just got a threaded hole on the end here that the click stop would go into. And so that looks like this. Okay. So that goes on here like this. And of course, now the problem is that that's snapped off. So I had decided that I don't think I want to keep this. I don't think I really need a bench micrometer like this. And because these are pretty expensive, I figured the best thing for me to do would be to sell this. And this is a nice eBay item because it's definitely something that's UPS or priority mail shippable. I could double box it to protect it and everything. But what I decided I wanted to do was I wanted to fix this click stop. So I went online and I poked around and I was looking for Mitutoyo parts. And I want to tell you guys about a company that I found. I ended up getting a really good deal on a couple of things. Now, I think that I got the wrong things, maybe. I don't know. But we'll check in a second. And I actually got two different things because... Oh, look. Here's that little vise I was talking about. This little quick release vise. Got this cam action. It's a nice little drill press vise. So I got that one too. Probably going to keep that one. Okay, so yeah, so just a few weeks ago, I did some horse trading, and I ended up getting this Mitutoyo 8 to 9 inch micrometer, and this has got the click stop on it, and it had the little plastic style cover on here, and it broke off. It was broken off when I got it. So anyway, so I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, oh, you know, I could fix this up by just putting a new one of these on. And then I remembered about this being broken. So I said, well, you know what? This would be the perfect time to order a couple of these. So I started poking around on the internet, looking for the parts. And I could find some references to part numbers in that for the mechanism. And when I started running those part numbers in Google searches, some of the prices that were coming up were just downright ludicrous. And then I just kept digging and digging and drilling down further and further. I found this company, okay, and they're called Global Test Supply. It says the Test, Measurement, and Supply Company, Global Test Supply. And they have Mitutoyo parts. Now, here's the rub. Apparently, they don't have a lot of these little obscure parts in stock. But what you can do is, if you're willing to wait, which I was willing to wait for the slow boat from China or wherever, because I didn't, need these immediately, you can get these parts a lot cheaper than what you would normally pay. Fortunately, I have to apologize because I just realized this is just a pick ticket slip or whatever, so it just shows me the parts. So when I was looking these up online, some of these parts didn't have a photograph, so I just kind of took a guess. So I ordered one of these 04AZB004s ratchet assembly. And then there was another one called the 04GZA239 plastic ratchet stop. All right, well, what came in was these two little bags in a large box. So there's the ratchet assembly, and lo and behold, what you get when you order that is you get this whole mechanism, this ratchet mechanism, okay? But no plastic cap, or no cap whatsoever. See? And then if you order this one, okay, the 04GZA239, what you get is you get the actual plastic, you get the mechanism with the actual plastic cap on it. So this, I think, is what was on here. Okay, so once I unscrew this from here and screw this on, this one's done. My problem is This appears to be a different one, but I noticed when I took this off the other day, look, there's a screw in there. Okay, so I think if I take that screw out, I might be able to take this metal cover and put it on this and be back in business. So let's find out if that's the case. All right, so the first thing I need is there's going to be a little special spanner wrench that must engage that little tiny hole right there. That little hole. As luck would have it, I've gotten into the habit of keeping every single extra micrometer wrench I've ever come across in a toolbox. I just kind of throw them all in here, unless of course I know what they go to. In other words, if I have a micrometer in a case and the wrench is with it, I keep it with it. But these are just all extras that I've kind of grabbed here and there over the years. So see, that might be a candidate right there. Oh yeah, see, look at that, fits perfect. Just put that little nub in the hole, wrap it around, give it a little tug. Ooh, that unscrews easily. Okay. And we're just gonna grab this wrench again, give it a little twist, tightness, there we go. Ooh, I like it. Yep, I can deal with that. The question is, what about this one? Now it's funny, if I actually had the piece that goes over this, in other words, you take that screw out right there and you can take this plastic cap off. If I had just one of these plastic caps, I could have fixed this, because this actually still works. I'll keep that with the wrenches. All right, so now we're going to see whether or not I can take this knob off of here. That whole unit comes apart. That's different. It's not what I expected to happen. I wonder, I was just going to take this out of the package and it just occurred to me, what's in this package is pretty much identical to what I've got in my hand here, which I just took off of the other micrometer. So I'm wondering whether or not if I can get this screw out, if I can take this top part of this cam, this ratcheting mechanism off, put this in its place. I wonder if that'll actually work. I'm beginning to think that maybe this one, because it's for a plastic knob, might be actually different than this one. Hey, yeah, it looks like it does match up. Oh, hold on. Maybe the screw hole size is different? That screw's not going in. Alright, let me take this off again. Yep, it's a different size screw. Can I just take this screw and use it in its place? Let's see. Yep. Franken micrometer. That'll work. All right. So I just went on the Global Test Supplies website just to show you guys. So you see there's no picture. So I just took a chance that this was the ratchet assembly. And you can see it's, look at that. Sale price, $3.76. That's actually a very good deal for one of these parts, because if you get that same part from any of several other vendors, you can expect to pay significantly more. Back Battery on my phone just died. It's been a long day. Well, you guys are going to just have to take my word for it. I've seen it cost anywhere from 3 to 4 times as much as that on some other websites. So all I have left to do is get a couple of batteries for this thing, test it out, and we'll probably list it on eBay. Now I'm going to list this with a disclaimer because I think this may have taken a fall. And that would explain why A, this was bent, and B, why I noticed that when I close this all the way up, the two ends, the anvil and the other end here, they don't meet perfectly lined up. There's a visible offset to this, and I figure it could be that this part right here is bent. I'm not sure. I don't think the frame is bent. There's nothing to indicate that the frame took a really bad whack. I think that this got hit. Either that or there's a way that this can be adjusted, but I don't think so. But this can be replaced. I think there may have been different sizes that may have gone in here. But it's just not, to me, I think that there shouldn't be a little bit of a shelf right here. I could feel it with my fingernail. So, yeah, this is definitely not lined up the way it should be. Now, I don't see, when I hold it up to the light, I don't really see any light coming through. In other words, if the two faces were kind of like not meeting together correctly, you would think there'd be a gap of light shining through, but I don't see that. I don't know. So even if with the batteries in it, it turns on and everything, I'm probably going to list it as is because it may need some attention. All right, let's try and blow through this flea market finds real quick. This is my local flea market. I hadn't been there in a while and stopped in, and one of the vendors there, his dad worked for one of the companies that actually did castings, I think, for Starrett back in the day. And he occasionally would bring in some items that his dad had and sell them at the flea market. Well, he brought in an oak Gerstner toolbox, and I was going around and I saw the toolbox, and I started looking in the drawers of the toolbox, and I saw a few items here and there throughout the box, and then I was like, didn't really see anything. And I got to the point now I'm kind of fickle about buying stuff. I started looking at a few items, picking them up, and then realizing, not even really enough here to bundle. Didn't feel like spending much money. So initially I was going to walk away, but then I picked up some items and I was looking at them and I was like, oh, these are kind of interesting. So there's these rods, okay, and this one here, you can see it's got an offset, very, very sharp, I mean wicked sharp point. This one is also offset, wicked sharp point. This one's got a bend to it, sharp point. Then I saw this one and it had this piece on it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is getting kind of interesting. All right. So then I was looking around the drawers and I saw these rods, and I realized, oh, hold on. I think I realized what this is. I said, I think this is a trammel point set. So you can see because of the flat there that this will go in right here. So it'll go in like that. And you could set, of course, the other one. Then in another drawer, I found the other one. So I started pulling this all together. And then I was like, you know what? There's some other stuff here. So I put together a whole bundle of stuff. And I said, well, how much for the whole bundle? And he said, $25. And I was like, well, everything that's here was included in that bundle of 20 for 25 bucks. And then, except for 2 screw jacks. And they weren't Starrett screw jacks. I couldn't find a maker's name on them, but they were nice little screw jacks, a pair of them. They weren't in the box or anything. And I said, geez, you know, I got so many of these screw jacks. I said, I tell you what. I said, why don't you keep these screw jacks? Because I know you can get more than $5 for this pair of screw jacks. And I'll give you 20 bucks for the pile. And he said, yeah, okay. So, what I got was, I got all of these pieces here to make a trammel point set, which is, I think they call these beams, okay, with the couplers. So I can put these 3 together, and this thing gets a mile long, all right? Just kind of give you an idea how far out that goes. That's probably 4 feet. So what's interesting to me is, I think when I was looking this up online, I was just searching Starrett trammel points, and ended up finding this set, and then figuring out I think it's a number 59, if I'm not mistaken, and then realizing, oh, this was actually a pretty damn expensive set. And so these 2 points right here, they're actually marked LS Starrett number 59 right on them. But what's weird is that these other points that I've got right here, they're not marked anywhere at all. But when I look at them, like this one here especially, if I look at it under magnification, I look at it, it's identical. I mean, if somebody made these and then just didn't mark them, they did an incredibly good job of copying them, because they're perfect copies. This one maybe is a little bit different. See, this has got like the thicker part right here where the knurl is, and it's not rounded on the top like this. And this also has almost a chrome like mirror finish, almost like a medical instrument. So that's a pair of straight ones. And then I got this pair right here, okay, which are the curve points. And then this appears to be a pair of offset points. And then this one is an odd. So there might have been another rod that went missing, because I made sure that I checked every drawer and took every rod that was there. So I got all these rods, seven of these, the 3 beams, this all important piece here, okay? I got all of that. Then there was some other stuff in there that I didn't realize what the heck this stuff was, and I ignored it. And then when I went home that night and I was researching it and I was looking at the trammel point set, all of a sudden I saw this other stuff, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. I remember seeing some of that stuff in the box. So that was a Saturday that I had gone. I went back the following day on a Sunday, and I pulled out the other stuff in the box, and I said, hey, this stuff here, it turns out it actually belongs to that set of trammel points. And so what I got was these 2 doohickeys right here, okay, which when I was looking at them initially, I had no idea what the hell they were. All right. And it turns out what these are, okay, these are made to hold these points, okay. So these actually sit in this groove right here. All right. You get one that doesn't have a curve to it, so I can just stick it through here and show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to loosen this up. Okay. Stick that through like that. Tighten that down. Okay. Then you loosen this clamp, and you clamp this clamp on, I think, what they call a beam, which can be a wood stick or like a large ruler or straight edge. Okay, so let's see, this is my Raybone Chesterfield straight edge that I bought. Let's see if we can't use it on this. No, so that's probably not the best thing for this. Okay. Well, I guess you could. All right. But because my straight edge here has this beveled knife edge on it, it's not working as well. And you can also see this is made more for something wide. So I think this would be better for like a wood stick or something like that. All right. But these little doohickeys right here are kind of expensive too. And I had no idea what the hell they were when I first saw them in the box. Then I went back and... Enough dirt there, Steve? And then I went back and I was like, oh. And then, in addition to that, also in the box, I spotted these. All right? These little ball things. Okay? And lo and behold, turns out these are also part of this set. But these, I think I remember seeing somebody do a video and explain what the heck these were for. And I know they have these holes in them for these rods, okay? And then I looked in the box and I found a couple more of these rods that didn't seem to have any point to them, but realized that they fit right into these holes. Let's see, this one's a little larger. This one. So they turn in and they kind of lock into these holes on these ball things, and so you can obviously reach down inside maybe and do something with this. So I don't remember what the hell these are called and what the hell their use is, but I thought, hey, you know, all the sets that I saw apparently included this, so I got them. I don't remember if there was supposed to be more than 4 of these or not, but I looked throughout the box there, and this is what I found. Was these four little rods. So I got all of that stuff. So I went back. I got them to sell me these 2 doohickeys and these 4 balls with the little sticks there for $5 more to make this a fairly complete set, I think. Starrett number 59. And then I found this big standard. All right, this is a Starrett 13-inch micrometer standard. It wasn't going to be something that was going to add much value to the pile, so I figured I'd throw it in. And I've got several of these, and I'll put it with the other ones. This is a nice little piece right here. This is a Starrett number 289-B, okay? And some of you might recognize this right off the bat. This is for putting 2 Starrett scales together at right angle to each other. So if you have one of these style Starrett scales with the groove in it, that groove will, that little piece right there, the little nub, will go right in the groove, and you can tighten this down, okay? I actually put this in backwards, but you get the idea. And then another one goes here, okay? And then what you end up with is basically it makes a 90-degree square. So that's kind of a neat little thing. I don't know if I'll ever end up using it. I've got squares. What's crazy about this thing is how expensive this is new. This little doohickey right here. I mean, this thing trades used, I think, for like 35, 40 bucks, I guess. But like, I was looking, this one on eBay right now, it must be a new one because it's listed for over $300. It's some crazy, crazy number. But I'm like, really? Come on. Come on. I mean, in what bizarro world does this warrant that kind of money? I just don't know. So anyways, is that. This little thing was hanging out in there. Okay. And to me, it looks like, it almost looks like it goes on a caliper. All right, so like you would slide it on, you know, if you had a dial caliper, this part of the dial caliper, it almost looks like it would slide onto that. So it's almost like a stop. I don't quite know. So does anybody know what that is? Try and give you a little bit better look. Okay. Anybody recognize that thing? There's no markings on it whatsoever. It's almost got like a satin chrome finish on it. Nice little thumb wheel. Obviously to clamp it on. It's some sort of a stop. Figured that was going to just find its way to the trash eventually if somebody didn't scoff it like I did. And then we got a couple of radius gauges. I've got some radius gauges, but it's a nice little small set. So this one, this is a Starrett 272B, okay? And so just so you can get a quick look at what that looks like. It's got some rust on it. Light rust, not too bad though. Actually, this isn't rust. This is like that wax cosmoline type of crap. Preserve it. All right, so the battery died, but I was just looking at this contour gauge, and this is a Starrett 272B. All right, and I just rubbed it there with a little bit of Scotch-Brite pad, and that actually cleaned up pretty decent. That's definitely a serviceable tool, and I don't think I have one this size, so I'll probably keep this for myself. And then this little one here is a 272A. So it's the little brother for this thing. So you can see the little contour gauges there. So that's a nice little find. And then the last item that he had, this he actually had in the case, in his display case. I guess he figured this was important enough to take out of the box or whatever. But this is a Starrett number 212 attachment for 2-inch micrometer. So this appears to be brand new, unused. I think this is a extension. So, no, what the heck was this for? Oh, okay, I remember now. I had to look this up. There's I believe there's a type of Starrett micrometer that the actual part of the frame, that this will actually clamp onto part of the frame, and then there must have been maybe interchangeable sizes to make it to basically give you the ability to have one micrometer and switch these parts to get different size micrometers. Oh yeah, okay, so it's coming back to me now. It's a little while since I looked at this, but I actually am still confused about, I think this either has multiple uses or people are getting the use of this wrong. Because here's example number 1 of that attachment being used, and it's on this micrometer that the frame was either modified or it was made this way so that this could be changed out, like I said originally, which is to make use of this as a for different micrometers. So in other words, you could have one frame and you could have a 0 to 1 inch or a 0 to 2 inch depending on what size this was. Okay, but I also found this picture, and what somebody's done here is they're using this attachment and clamping it on the jaws of a dial caliper. Now, why would you even want to do that, is what I'm wondering. That seems weird to me. Kind of think of it. I didn't think that slot went all the way through on mine. Yeah, see, this is a horse of a different color. That's a blind hole. See, there's no opening on the other side there. So I couldn't put this on calipers like they did here, even if I wanted to, which I don't. So I think these are something else. I don't know what the heck they are. They're saying that it comes with 2 Starrett number 212 attachments. Well, this is clearly marked that it's a 212, just like what my box says. So this is a 212. I'm wondering whether or not they just thought those were 212s and that they're actually something else. So I don't even think I have a micrometer that this will work on. So this is probably going to be an eBay item. So again, I like searching sold auction listings because that's a better indication of value. I mean, people can ask whatever they want for something. It doesn't mean that's what it's worth. There's the cheapest one is this one here. That's not a well, actually that says attachment in original box. Why the heck? That's kind of weird. Wonder why that only brought $5.50. Oh, because that's not what it is. That's why it only brought $5.50. It's a thread gauge that somebody put in the box for the thread for the micrometer attachment. So they advertised it as a number 212 micrometer attachment, and apparently whoever this is doesn't know the difference between a micrometer attachment and a thread gauge. So that's why it only brought $5.50. So the actual cheapest one that sold is a used one without the box for $12.50. And there's another one for $15. There's one brand new with the box, $25, free shipping. So this guy probably net somewhere around $20 for this. This is so light, easy to ship. That's good. So I like that because then I can just sell this and pretty much almost make back what I paid for the whole lot. Then everything else becomes gravy. Oh, for those of you who know what this set's supposed to be and was screaming at the screen, I figured I better include this. All right, so I got a couple of things wrong here. So this is a Starrett 59F set, and what it contains is it contains the two trammel point holders for a beam. You fashion your own beam out of wood or metal, and it also contains 2, 4, 6 pairs of points, and what I'm missing are these two pieces right here with the long curves on the end. Okay, and these are actually extensions for dividers. Okay, I actually might have one of these. I think way back in one of my toolbox purchases, I found one of these and was wondering what it was, and somebody had told me that that's an extension for a divider. I think I might have just this one here. This one's special. It's got a little thumb screw adjustable eccentric mechanism for a very, very fine adjustment. So that one is, I know I don't have that one. So anyways, so the big mistake I made, or assumption that I made, which is incorrect, is these little rods that I found, even though they actually kind of fit in there, these probably have absolutely nothing to do with this set. They just happen to be rods. Now, unless somebody made these just so that they could have extra rods, but when I was just talking about this earlier, I was noticing that we had an odd number of these, and the reason why is because we have, there's the one pair of curved points, there's the one pair of offset points, there's another pair. So we got 2, 4, 6 points, and this is, with no point on it, is the rod for this. Okay, oddly enough, but it doesn't stay engaged in there, so I guess it's not supposed to stay in there. But anyways, that's this. Yeah, sure, it fits this one. Interesting. See how the backs of these two smaller ones are? This really small one isn't like that. And that one doesn't stay on either. I was beginning to wonder whether or not this was shop made, this one. I guess it could be. Yeah, you know, maybe it is. I don't know. But anyways, so even on the Starrett website, it talks about these, but it doesn't explain what they're for. So obviously, this is made so that it gets clamped on here, and this goes on here. But why Why would you want to do that? That's what I don't understand. Or, you know, on here, clamp this rod on here, same thing, on your beam. So I don't know. Don't understand the use of these. I'm sure one of you guys knows exactly how these work. And I just looked all over it. I can't figure out where I put that extension I was going to show you. But yeah, no biggie. Like I said, I know I only had one. Almost positive I only had the one. So, anywho, I sold that Kennedy box a while back that I think that was in, and I can't remember where I put all the stuff that was in it that I kept. I know I wouldn't have gotten rid of it. Probably isn't worth much as a single leg extension, and I wouldn't have thrown it out because I rarely throw stuff out. Okay, so before I get to the last item over here, I wanted to just give a quick promotion. I had somebody comment on one of my old Kennedy toolbox videos. I talked about buying a Kennedy toolbox with a riser. I had somebody who commented and wanted to let me know that that's not a riser. I forgot what the heck they said, but anywho, I didn't pay much attention to it. And then they followed up their own comment and basically said, hey, if you want to see my videos, you might enjoy them. And they put their link to their videos in the comment. And sure enough, YouTube's spam filters did their job, because I get that all the time. I get people who actually leave comments and they sound like they're giving you praise, and then it's some stupid thing that they're selling, you know, the latest, greatest toilet cleaner or something. And anyways, so they put a link right there, and so the YouTube spam filters pick up that and immediately stick that comment. They don't publish that comment. They stick it in a folder for my review. And sometimes I don't look in that folder for a while. And I happen to come across this comment, and I happen to see the guy's, you know, comment and his link, and I'm like, all right, yeah, all right. So I click on it, and come to find out, it's this young man, okay? I don't know his age exactly, but it's a young man who is in a old basement. You could tell it's an old basement of an old house because it's a stone foundation, and that's got to be pretty old. But anyways, he's got a machine shop down there. He's got lathes, he's got surface grinders, he's got all this stuff. And he calls himself Precision Machine Works, but his channel is his name, which is Edward Sobieski. Now, I'm going to spell that for you, because when I say Sobieski, that's how a Polak like me would pronounce this name. But for everybody else, if you tried to spell it based on my pronunciation, you're never going to find this kid's channel. So, uno momento while I look this up on my phone, because I don't remember the spelling myself. But basically, you might want to check out this kid's channel. He's already gotten props from the likes of Keith Fenner and the crew. So, and I'm sure Keith Fenner probably mentioned him to some other people. But people really like... this kid is going to really get subscribers quickly, I think, because it's entertaining to watch him. I think the first video where I saw him doing something, he was showing his surface grinder and using it without any safety glasses on. And of course, that garnered a bazillion comments. I tell you what, I figured out how to get people to comment more on my videos. All I have to do is do things that are very unsafe. All right, so I'm thinking later today I'll fire up the Wells Index mill, put a carbide bit on there so we can really get the chips cranking, flying around the shop, and I'll stand there without any protection. That'll get you. All right, shut up, Steve. Here we go. Edward Sobolewski. Oh, maybe I'm not. No, I'm pretty sure I'm getting that pronunciation right when I say Sobieski. Because it's a weird thing we do in Poland with our letters and sounds. Sobolewski. Edward Sobolewski might be how you might say it if you were in Poland. All right. So, anyways, check out his videos. He's a very young man. Apparently, he's a young man with deep pockets. Either that or Dad's got deep pockets because he goes to a lot of auctions. So, if you like watching people buy stuff, he might be something you might want to check out. All right, so let's get to this last item before I quit. And this is kind of a, hey, you tell me what you think it is. All right, so I come across this guy who's got a table and mostly stuff that I have no interest in, and I happen to spot this. I take one look at it, and I immediately think oil filter wrench. I look at it and I go, well, okay, is it an oil filter wrench? Well, you got kind of an adjustment here between like two sizes. Okay, so you can go to this position here for 1 diameter, and you can go to this position here for a smaller diameter. And then, of course, you get the range of, as you pull this, it opens and closes a little bit. Okay. So I was thinking, you know, when I do the oil change on my wife's car in particular, the Honda Pilot, it's kind of a pain to get to that oil filter in the position it's in behind the wheel with a conventional wrench. So I thought, well, this might do the trick. So I offered the guy $1 for this, and he took it. So I got this for $1. He immediately told me that it was a for opening jars, for lids on jars. So if you have like problems with weakness in your hand, arthritis and things like that, it's supposed to help you to do that. That's what he said it was. So as soon as he said it was that, I immediately thought, oh, well, maybe I got this completely wrong. And maybe it is a lid opener for stubborn pickle jars. But I quickly said, well, it may be that, but I'm going to use it for an oil filter wrench. And as I was walking out of the flea market, I was talking to my son about what had just happened, the whole exchange that I had with this gentleman, what I planned on using this for. And this other guy, this other vendor happened to see me walk out, and he's got a bunch of tools and stuff, so he buys and sells tools all the time, and he overheard me and talking about oil filter wrench, and he said, yeah, that's what that is. So he said, he took one look at it and said, no. I said, well, the guy thought it wasn't a jar opener, and the only reason I thought maybe it was a lid opener was because see how thin this is? You know, the lid on a jar is pretty thin, right? Whereas an oil filter wrench, typically we'd expect it to be like a wider, like the ones that you tend to see all the time, the strap style ones. So the verdict's still out on what this is, so I'm curious to see how many guys think that it's an oil filter wrench versus how many guys think that it's a lid opener. Now, I could probably Google jar opener or oil filter wrench and find eventually a picture of this and determine it that way. But where's the fun in that? So I've looked at this thing all over. It's very cheaply made, and I cannot find any markings on it whatsoever. So as far as the manufacturer goes, forget about it. And just because it's so chintzy and everything, I do tend to lean towards the jar lid opener. Oh well, okay. That's probably going to be my last video before the holidays, so I hope everyone enjoys their Christmas and New Year's. Tough getting old.